Hello everybody, my name is Ariel. I'm with the Panama City Beach Library, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make these lovely crocheted pumpkin coasters. I will also be beginning the video with a tutorial on how to crochet for beginners. If you already know how to crochet, just skip ahead to the actual pattern and you can start there. But what you're gonna need today is some kitchen cotton, which for those of you who don't normally use yarn, kitchen cotton is 100% cotton made specifically for use of coasters and washcloths, dish towels, stuff like that, because it doesn't burn and it soaks up water. You're also gonna need a size H or a 5mm crochet hook, a pair of craft scissors, and a needle. All of this stuff you can find at a craft store or at Walmart. If you want to find this specific needle, which is really great for weaving in ends, I would suggest checking on Amazon because I have not seen that in store since I bought it. And a big thank you to Emerald Cherub Crochet, who gave permission for us to use her pattern for these crocheted coasters. The link to her blog post will be in the description below. So if you ever at any point need to follow along with that, it is in the description. And we will also be linking her Ravelry page, which is a knitting and crochet forum online where she has other patterns as well. Let's get crocheting. So we're going to begin with the slip knot. So we've got this yarn. This end attaches to the ball, and this end is what we're going to call the tail. So we're going to take the tail, and we're going to make a little loop. See the little X here? Then we're going to take the end of the loop and just kind of lay it over the rest of the working yarn, which is this bit attached to the ball. So we're going to pick up this little bit that is under the loop. We're going to pull it through. Whoops. I'm going to pull on the tail and see how there's a little adjustable loop here for you to use. Now we're going to stick our hook through and just pull it pretty tight, I would say. You can leave a little wiggle room if you'd like. If you're beginning and you don't want it nice and tight, that is perfectly fine. So typically whenever you're crocheting, you're going to want the working yarn wrapped over your index finger, laying across your palm and held down with the rest of your hand. So these 3 fingers are going to be keeping this yarn in place. And these 2 fingers can also hold down the rest of your working yarn or your tail as you begin. So we're going to, and this is the basics of crochet, just take the hook, wrap it under the yarn, make sure the hook hooks onto the top of the yarn, and pull it through the loop. And that's a chain stitch. So under, hook it over, pull it through. Under, hook it over, pull it through. Under, hook it over, pull it through. And you're just going to do that a couple times. As you can see, and I'm going to show y'all now how to do a double crochet. That's what the body of the coaster is going to be. So these stitches right here, these are double crochet. They're a little bit longer than these single crochets are on the stem here. So you're always going to leave 3 stitches, and that's going to act in height as a double crochet. So you're going to wrap your yarn around, hook it up. You don't quite have to hook it yet, actually. So 1, 2, 3 on the 4th stitch. See how there's a little gap in the middle there? We're going to just kind of wiggle our hook into the top there. So you can see on the back here, there's a bit of a braid. We're going to want to make sure that it's poking through on top of the other 2 there. So just this top one, hook, pull through, hook, pull through the first two. That's important on that. And then hook, pull through. And that's a double crochet. So I'll show you all how to do that again. And don't worry, I'll go down the whole line, and then I'll show you how to start another row. So we're going to wrap, just kind of wiggle them under the first one there. Hook and pull through. Hook and pull through. Hook and pull through. We're going to do that again. Hook under, pull through. Under, pull through. Under, and pull through. And again, it's really important on these to make sure you're just doing the double stitch. Hook, pull through, hook. So hook, pull through, hook, pull through. And if this confuses you, if you need still pictures, we do have quite a few beginning crochet books in the library, so feel free to check those out. So we're just gonna hook and push through. Whoops, see, oh, lost a stitch there. So we're gonna under. If you want to pause and just practice this stitch for a good long while, then absolutely, I encourage it. If you just want to stitch, work on this, then absolutely. Now here we are going to have to do a little more. So at the end of the row, we're going to chain 3 stitches here. So it's just that pull through, a single loop, and we've got a chain. Now here is where it gets a little bit tricky. So we're going to hook, and then there's, as you can see here as I pull these apart, there's a little space in between the top that looks like the chain stitch and the rest of the stitch. So we're just gonna stick it between those 2 little loops there. Pull through, pull through. There you go. So if you can see there, and I'll poke it through the other way just so you can see, there's a little circle that you can stick through there. So wrap through both of those, pull through, pull through, pull through. And again, y'all just practice this as much as you need. Because I know that I struggled with this when I first started. I've been doing this for a few years now, not a super long time, but a few years now. And even now, sometimes I have a hard time. And as you can see, this is going to be a problem whenever you're doing bigger works. I made my my first chain a little bit tight, so it kind of pulls under like that. That's going to happen. So we're just going to finish up this row. And what's fun is, like, it's really easy to finish these off. Let's get through. So we're gonna get to the end here where the initial chain 3 is. And you will see even here, there's a little stitch right there. Just a little bit harder to find. Pull through, pull through. And so if you count, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stitches on the bottom. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stitches on top. So what we're gonna do now that we're finished, and again, you can keep going if you'd like. We're just going to cut off a little bit. We're gonna leave a tail. We're gonna do 1 single wrap and pull all the way through and then tighten it up. You can see it's nice and stiff. Those knots are holding it together, and you've done a couple rows of double stitch crochet. So let's start with single stitch crochet. So we're going to make our loop, our stitch, slip knot, sorry. And come on, pull through. Got a bit of a long tail there, but that's not a problem. So I'm gonna do this really fast after the first stitches. So again, we're just gonna wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through, wrap, pull through. And you're just gonna do that as long as you need. I'm just gonna real quick whip some out. Now, with the single stitch, you're just going to skip this first stitch here. That's gonna act as your first stitch. So we're gonna poke it through the second one here. Oh, sorry, I messed that up. See, I've been doing this for years and I still forget sometimes. So we're just gonna stick under, hook through, and then pull through both loops. And there's a single stitch. So through and through. Single stitch, as you can see, is a lot shorter. Takes a little less yarn, makes a shorter row, a little tighter than its double stitch cousin. So, just gonna do that. All right, so I'm gonna pull a little yarn off here. So what you're gonna do now that you've reached the end of this row is we're going to chain one, turn it around, stick it through that loop, pull through. So you're gonna see there's kind of like that loop that's on the double stitch crochet. So you see how on the back here, there's the two loops. We've just kind of got the one on this. So we're gonna stick through, hook, under. Just kind of do a shorter version of the double crochet. Stick through, hook it, pull through two. We're just gonna do that. You can just practice that for a little while. So we're gonna start with the body. And we're going to make our slip stitch, our slip knot. And we are going to chain 8 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to go to the 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to go to the 4th stitch and crochet, do 2 more double stitches in that one. So you should have 2 double stitches and a chain 3 all in the same stitch. That chain 3 is going to act as a double stitch. So we're going to go in the next 3, just 1 double crochet. 1, 2. So we're going to be working on this last stitch here. We're going to do 6 whole double crochet in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to be working in the back end here. So you're gonna loop over because we're gonna keep doing double stitch, and we're gonna work onto that hoop loop. So you see how I only got the one, there's nothing extra pulled into it. We're going to do a double crochet in there, and we're gonna do that 2 more times for a total of 3 stitches. Then we are going to work into this stitch 3 more stitches. 2, 3. Now we're going to put a little slip stitch right here. where the chain 3 ends. So you're just gonna do 2, and then we're gonna do another 2-stitch increase in the next 2 stitches. And again, in crochet, this is called an increase. So we're just gonna crochet an extra stitch in each of these, and then a single stitch in the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, and these next 6 stitches, we're gonna do another double increase. So we're gonna do 2 crochet stitches in each of the next 6 stitches here. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then you can always go back and count if you lose your place. So we have done 1, 2, 3 increases so far. We gotta do 3 more. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So just to make sure we did everything right, we're going to double count, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 increases. So we did this correctly. Now we're going to go a single stitch in the next 3. So 1, 2, 3 single stitches. There we go. Now we're going to do a double crochet in these last 3 stitches as well. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, so we're gonna wrap that and slip stitch into that. And now we're going to do that again by doing another increase into this stitch, and then 2 more 2-stitch increases in the next 2. So you should have 3 double stitch increases there. So 1, 2, 3, and then in the next 8 stitches, we're just going to do 1 double crochet each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh. Don't worry, you can save that. Just put it back in the loop and you're good to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now, just like the last one, we're going to do 6 increases with 2 stitches in each stitch. Let's go. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then again, you can always just go back and count. I always count my stuff religiously. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more increases to go. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So now we should have 6 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now in the next 9 stitches, we're going to do a single double crochet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now the last 3 stitches, we're going to do another increase in each. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we're gonna just do one final slip stitch, cut your thread, and pull through. And there's the body of your pumpkin. So now that we've done that, we're going to take the tails and we're going to weave them in. So I'm just going to kind of stick my needle through the middle of these stitches here and just kind of weave the tail in. So I'm just going to call it after that. We're going to snip kind of close right there, and voila. This one gets a little trickier. I just kind of like weave down the double crochets along the back in the little loops. And again, you can do what works for you. And there's, on TikTok and YouTube especially, there's just tons of different ways that people will teach you to do it. Just do what works best for you. I'm just going to stop right there. It doesn't need to be too terribly woven in. And cut it off. Alright, so now that we have the body all crocheted up, we are going to make our stem. So we're gonna make a slip knot, whoops, chain 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in this 5th stitch, the second over from the hook, we're going to do a single crochet all the way down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you do want to leave a nice long tail for this, it to the body of the pumpkin. So we're just going to thread the needle, and let's see, that's the side I want out. All right, so we're just going to kind of sew into these top 2 loops here, where you would normally be crocheting. I found that if you do one good loop through, and then you can kind of make like a second knot, whoops, getting in my way. So you can, oh, I did this backwards last time, but you can do like a little knot in the back that gives it a good secure base, and it should be fairly sturdy. So we're gonna do that again on this side. So I'm just, make sure your tail is on the correct side of the work. Just again, make that little kind of knot, get a good secure tacking, and then weave in the ends over here. You know, they don't have to look perfect, because you know what, they're handmade, they're rustic. Their flaws make them what they are. They give them personality. So there's the stem. Now we're going to make the leaf. Now this is the hardest part. So if you are a beginner and you don't feel comfortable doing the leaf, look at how cute this pumpkin is without the leaf. It doesn't need it. So this is absolutely up to you. If you just want to have a little pumpkin with a little stem, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna make a leaf though. So this technique can be a little tricky. We're gonna start with what's called a magic circle. This is used a lot of the time with plushies and hats. So you kind of like how we start with this slip stitch, you're going to want to take the yarn and kind of like wrap it around your hand and make a little X with the yarn right here with the tail. I'm just gonna hold that X down, and then somewhere back here you want to, there's other tutorials that'll be make a lot more sense than this, but you're going to kind of take the hook through this main loop, hook through the working yarn and pull it up, and you kind of have like a little semi-stitch there. And then you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, and that is your first double crochet stitch. Again, if this is a little bit too much for you right now, just stick to the stem. So now from here we're just going to double crochet 3 times into the magic circle, and we're going to make sure we're working on this extra kind of crossed over bit of yarn. 2, 3, and now you're going to chain 2 and slip stitch into the second stitch here. So stick it through and just pull the yarn through both loops. That makes a little point on the leaf, and then we're going to do 3 more, 2, 3 chain stitch, and then we are going to slip stitch into the magic circle. So you're going to just kind of do what you normally do with a stitch, except you're just going to pull right through. Now we are going to tighten it by pulling that tail stitch, so see that tightens up the circle nicely. And then cut yourself a good long tail over on this side. What's the working yarn? This is, you pull through, I'm going to tug on it, make sure it stays. Yep, there we go. So that is the leaf. There's other ways to do it that might be easier. And again, you do not have to do this if you don't feel comfortable with the magic circle technique yet. That is absolutely fine. They are your coasters, you make them how you want. All right, so now we're just going to kind of tack on the leaf in the same manner that we did the stem. Let's see. Nice sturdy knot there, and then you kind of have this lovely little arch of double crochet stitches. So if you just want to weave into that, that'll do just fine. Again, these don't have to be super woven in because they're not going to see as much use as, say, a scarf, a hat, or a blanket would whenever you make those. So just stick it enough to where like they're not immediately going to ravel out. So I'm going to do it again in this stitch through this loop here in the middle because I just like it there. So nice and tight. And you can kind of tack down if you don't want the leaf to be more, to be as floppy as this. You can tack down the ends of the leaves with the working yarn. I believe I did that on a couple of these, so you can see here I kind of tacked it down a little bit extra. But these are your finished coasters. And so now that you have your finished coasters, you can make as many of them as you want, and whatever colors you want. I made one at home that was made out of pink and some multicolored yarn, and it gave this cool kind of Alice in Wonderland effect. Make these for your own house for Halloween, Thanksgiving. Do with these what you will, and enjoy yourself. Have a wonderful day. Never stop learning, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. I will see y'all around at the library. Y'all have a wonderful day. Bye!